and thanks for joining us on our session today. My name is Jayesh, and I'm pleased to be joined by Craig to talk you through our session on Jamf Marketplace for developers. Today, we'll be discussing what is the marketplace, having a look at some of the developer technologies and portal, what does a great listing look like, and getting started. First of all, what is the marketplace? The marketplace is your home on Jamf.com as a third-party developer. It's the home for all of our solution partners and technology partners. Here it has information on all of the software, apps, integrations, configurations, and documentation. It was created over 3 years ago, with now just under 240 apps and over 130,000 views in the past year. We like to think of the marketplace as the app store for Apple admins. The benefits for the end user of the marketplace are the marketplace contains tools that plug in and play well with Jamf. It means that customers can make sure that they can maximize their investment and make sure that they can create IT efficiencies and automations. Also, it helps us find new use cases for Apple devices that help both enterprise, commercial, business, and education customers too. Now, let's take a look at the marketplace. So from Jamf.com, you can go down to the community section and choose Marketplace. Alternatively, you can go to your browser and type in marketplace.jamf.com, which will take you directly to the homepage. Once here, you will see the search bar. You can scroll down to see the type of a solution, have a look at our featured solutions, and also see the most recently updated solutions too. In the search bar, you can add a name, an industry type. Let's take a look at some of the education apps. By typing in education, it brings us to all the education solutions that are listed. Here we can see that there are 38 solutions. We can adjust the view to either grid or list view, and by default they are in alphabetical order. My favourite view is grid view. We can see apps from companies like Desmos, Explain Everything, and Shobi. We can also use some of the filters. So here we can select Jamf School. We can change the operating system to macOS. And additionally, we can change the type to integration, which reduces the number of solutions down to 6. Let's take a look at one of our more popular apps. We're going to look at the MUT, or the Mass Update tool. Here we can see we have an overview of the app that's available. We can have a look at the ratings and reviews that have been left by Jamf Nation and details on the app too. The overview is written completely by the developer, and in this case contains documentation of the app. Additionally, we can see here the pricing. We can see the type, so an integration and configuration, the platform it works on, and any additional tags that they want to add. If we hit the Get It button for this app, it takes us to the Mac App Store to download the app. And with documentation, it takes us to the GitHub page from the developer for further information. The ratings and reviews are left by users of both the MUT and also for Jamf Pro as well. And clicking on the Details tab, we can see information on the product support, the app config, and the configuration documentation, as well as the version history and the publisher's website. By clicking on the relevant pages, it will take us through to the developer site or the GitHub page in this case, where they have information or further information about their app. Additionally, we can go to the publisher website for more information if they needed to find out how to download the app, or if there was more tools that you wanted to share on your website too. Some developers might use this as a lead form to be able to further information or get in contact with customers. The developer tools allow partners to build a more powerful experience for end users and administrators of Jamf, and helps establish a more connected and extensible digital ecosystem for the Jamf community. There are 4 broad categories of solutions available within the Jamf Marketplace: integrations, configurations, deployment guides, and single login solutions. With integrations, this is an app or a service that uses APIs, webhooks, or workflows that connect to a Jamf product. An example of listing using this technology in our marketplace is a tool called Talk. For configurations, this is an app or service that uses app config or custom settings within a Jamf product. An example of a listing using this technology in the marketplace is Jamf Setup and Reset. With deployment guides, this app or service offers an official K-based article that describes best practices and resources for proper Jamf deployment. And single login is a new workflow alongside Jamf Setup and Reset technologies to make life easier for frontline workers. We'll share some additional resources at the end of the session with further information on these technologies. Let's take a look at the developer resources available on our developer portal. The URL for our developer portal is developer.jamf.com. And once in, you can see that our top options are our API references and documentation. The API references have info for Jamf Pro, School, Connect and Protect, and documentation contains useful link as well as a link to see all the documentation. Scrolling down further, you have additional links including how to sign up to our Solution Partner Program with further information on this. And additionally, a link to the marketplace, which takes you back to the marketplace link we just saw. Further down, there is further information on Jamf Pro, including the differences between our Classic and Pro API, and which API you should be using. Our documentation page includes information on the key types of information that will be required by a developer to create tools, apps, or workflows to extend capabilities using Jamf. When we click on each API reference, we can see the further information again, which includes technical resources that you could use, and additionally work with your Solution Partner Manager to help give you access to developer relations teams and our Solutions Partner engineers too. Now over to Craig to talk you through what does a great listing look like.
Thanks, Jay. Hi, everybody. My name's Craig, and I'm a user experience designer here at Jamf. One of the properties that I work on in my job is the marketplace, so I wanted to take some time to show you the pieces of a marketplace listing and give you some things to keep in mind if you decide you want to create one of your own. So after you've written, tested, polished, and got your integration how you want it, you'll need to think about how you want to present it to Jamf Nation. The first question you should try and answer is, how will a marketplace visitor find my integration in the sea of others that are listed? Out of the box, the marketplace platform provides you with a variety of metadata to add to your listing that will classify it with similar integrations based on the type, the product, the Jamf product that it works with, and the Apple operating system it supports. This metadata will help get your integration in front of prospective users via our search and filtering options. but how you present your integration to those users when they see it amongst the other listing requires some planning. So I'll have to ask you to take your developer and administrator hat off for a minute and put on a sales and marketing one. You need to think critically about what exactly it is that your integration does for your user. Does it solve a problem? Does it eliminate repetitive tasks? Does it fill a gap in existing functionality? Also think about how your integration accomplishes what it does for the user. Is it an automation? Does it connect two pieces of software? Does it provide data for another piece of software to accomplish a goal? Having a clear idea of what you think the value is and how it will help the user will help you create a much more impactful listing. At this time, too, you'll also want to gather up a few tangible pieces of content that will help make your listing work. You need to have a name for the integration, some sort of logo or symbol, and some screenshots of the key parts of the integration in action. After you consider all these things and you're ready to start your listing, we can take a look at one of our Jamf's listings to see how you can apply this thinking to your own. For our walkthrough, we'll use the Jamf Healthcare Listener, which is an integration with Jamf Pro that helps hospital IT administrators manage iOS and tvOS devices used by patients in hospital rooms. The first impression a user will get of your integration is this card that will appear on screen when it appears in a search or filter query. This view is meant to give the users enough information to identify if it accomplishes what they're looking for, where and with what it can be used, how well received it has been with Jamf Nation. And most importantly, we're trying to get the user to click on your card. We can see your integration's logo prominently on this card. This is your very first impression for prospective users. So your logo does not have to be complicated or intricate or full of hidden meaning unless you really want it to be. In this scenario, the most important thing is that it is well rendered and professional looking. There are plenty of free and paid art services and clip art libraries out there to source a logo from if you don't have the ability to create your own. Even more important than the logo here is a clear, simple, concise, and accurate summary of what your integration does. Don't assume that your users will know acronyms or industry jargon. Distill it down to the most simple terms you can. Ironically, while writing this talk, I had to look up what EMR stands for on the Healthcare Listener card. It means Electronic Medical Record. I'm aware that I don't have the full context, but I'd offer the feedback to the Jamf healthcare marketers to not use EMR and simplify this summary a little bit. I will talk to them later about that. The rest of the data is fairly objective and handled via the metadata you provide when you submit your listing. And the star rating and number of reviews are something that's really not in your control. So at this point, the hope is that the user has identified the fact that your integration does in fact accomplish what they're looking for, and they want to learn more about it. Being the savvy web users that you and I know that your users are, they recognize the functionality of this card interface element, or they hover over the card to see the hover interaction, and they click to learn more about your integration. When a user clicks on the results card, they are taken to the integration detail page. This view is the core of your listing. You can see that the information from the results card is repeated across the top and down the left side for parity. Additionally, we see a pair of CTA buttons in the top right, a group of tags in the bottom of the left column, and a tab group in the center of the listing. We'll go through these extra elements now one by one. We'll start with the CTAs. Given the diverse nature of the listings that appear on the marketplace, and not having a common way to purchase or download or install them, we allow you to customize the primary CTA of the page. That's the blue button. Use this to get the users as close as possible to the physical download of your integration. Consider a link to a GitHub repository, a download page on your website, or a link to the software in the Apple App Store. In the case of Healthcare Listener here, we take the user to a landing page on Jamf.com to put them in contact with a representative, because access to this software has specific requirements that must be met. It's important for this CTA to get the user to a place that has a very apparent method of acquisition of the software as not to cause confusion for the user. The secondary CTA is optional. You can choose to show it in the admin panel of your listing. Its purpose is to offer a quick link to offsite documentation for your integration. Moving on to the tags in the lower left-hand column, these tags are a source of crowd-funded taxonomy for the marketplace. Back on the results page, we see a listing of all the tags in the left column as a method of filtering content. Jamf has a selection of key tags at the top of that list with an expansion trigger to reveal the rest. The tags are not predefined by Jamf, so as the marketplace grows, the number of tags added to the library increases. For maximum effectiveness in the tagging of your listing, I suggest that you look around at listings that accomplish similar things to your integration to see how they are tagged and use the appropriate ones to best describe your own integration. And if you feel that your integration is unique or you have a better descriptor for the tagging, feel free to add it to the tag library in the admin panel. Lastly, on the detail page, we have the tab grouping in the middle that has the main amount of content that you enter into your listing. The first tab that is shown when you land on the page is the Overview tab. This functions as the home page for your listing on the marketplace. Because of this fact, we will plan what we say in this section the same way we would plan the content for a business's homepage. Content theory suggests that a homepage needs to answer 4 questions for a first-time user. 1, am I in the right place? 2, what does this do? 3, how can this benefit me? 4, how does it provide the benefit it promises? Our goal here is to answer these 4 questions in the simplest yet most impactful way possible. If we look at the overview for Healthcare Listener, our healthcare marketers pose a question to the user that they already know the answer to. Are you looking for ways to deliver faster, more personalized care to patients during their stay? This is a savvy method of confirming that the user is looking at something they expect to be looking at. It's an effective way to start your listing. The next sentence of the Healthcare Listener overview is, give patients more control and a better overall experience by allowing them to see their medical records, close the blinds, and call a nurse, all from an iPad that can be securely and remotely erased between patient visits. This describes in simple terms what the integration can do for the user. Remember to use clear and simple language. If your user is using cognition to parse difficult language on the listing, they are not using that brain power to make a decision on if they want to use your integration or not. Followed by a very direct declaration of how it can benefit them, again in clear and simple language. The Jamf Healthcare Listener allows you to automate this vision of better patient care. So in 3 sentences, we have taken care of the top 3 questions we need to answer for the user. That's pretty good. We have 2 points of constructive feedback for our healthcare marketers in this paragraph, though. I would separate the first sentence, that question, from the other 2 sentences with a line break to allow more direct focus on that short question, giving it a bit more oomph to drawing people in. While the language in that second sentence is simple, it is a bit long, and using the M- complicates it a bit. Maybe it could be broken into 2 simpler sentences. After that first introductory paragraph, the following 2 paragraphs explain how the Healthcare Listener provides the benefits that it promises in the first paragraph. Feedback for the second and third paragraph that I have would be to keep the jargon and acronyms to a minimum. And maybe they have kept it to a minimum in this case. I'm not quite sure because I don't know the full context of this listing. And watch for your sentence length and complexity again. So in a concise 200 words, we have answered the 4 questions we need to answer to give the user a solid overview of what the Healthcare Listener does. Good job, Jamf Healthcare Marketing. Below the overview, we have a gallery to provide images to support your listing. Consider adding screenshots of the key screens of your integration, visuals that can assist in explaining what the integration does. Try to avoid things that do not directly benefit or support the overview content. So don't include generic clip art of people using devices or fluffy advertising copy. Remember that the images support the copy. The copy does not support the images. You're also afforded the ability to add captions to your images. While not required, it is highly recommended best practice to provide context for any non-visual browsers or assistive technologies that users might be using. The next tab in the main panel is for the ratings and reviews of your integration. You'll see an aggregation of all the available ratings, a breakdown of the ratings that you have received, and a list of the reviews that have been written along with those ratings. This is a new feature in the marketplace this year designed to boost engagement and give users an objective view of how people that use your integration feel about it. If you're a user of other integrations in Jamf software that you got from the marketplace, I would encourage you to leave reviews and feedback for what you use in hopes of cultivating a robust, honest, and supportive community here in Jamf Nation. The last view in the tab gallery is the specific details about your integration. Consider this the fine print that only a really committed prospect or existing customers would go to access information. We have the details broken down into 4 core categories: application resources, configuration resources, application information, and developer information. Use this area to provide links to more detailed documentation, but don't forget you have the ability to use that secondary CTA as a quick link to documentation. Any licensing agreements or legal information you need to provide, and links to your company's website. So let's recap this walkthrough of the Jamf Healthcare Listener Marketplace listing. The first thing we want to do is draw people into your listing with a solid results card containing proper metadata, a clear and professional looking logo, a concise and accurate summary statement. After they have reached your detail page from that results card, we want to have a well-planned overview that answers the 4 questions about how your listing benefits the user using clear and simple language. We want to have appropriate integration screenshots or support graphics with captions, a very apparent path to acquisition to your integration via the primary CTA. Another thing that will be very helpful for you is to accurately tag your listing by exploring the marketplace to see how similar integrations are tagged. Add tags to the library when necessary, and if you do add a tag, keep that simple in order to appear in the correct searches or filter queries. Remember that as a member of the Solution Partner Program, you have access to internal Jamf resources, including myself. While I can't write your listing for you, I gladly offer feedback or answer a specific question if you have it. Let your Solution Partner Manager know, and they will pass the information along to me. I'll give the session back to Jay now to wrap it up. I wish you good luck in your listing journey, and I hope your integration receives many 5-star reviews.
Thanks, Craig. We want to share some of the resources that you've seen today. If you visit the website on the screen today, you can see a link to Marketplace, the link to our developer portal, how to sign up to the Jamf Solution Partner Program and get listed on Marketplace, a deep dive into the technologies that we've discussed today, and links to all the Marketplace listings that we've discussed, including the Healthcare Listener. As Craig said, it's been great to speak to you today and share some of the information that we've got. Craig and I are available on the chat. If you do have any questions, please feel free to post them in there, and we can take it from there.